Alrighty, what's going on, everybody? We are back for our second matchup of the night as we're moving things along to the Challenger League, where we have Wraiths taking on Hellcats. I'm Markerman back in the booth, joined by the one and only Ventus. And Ventus, we just saw my Origin boys take a victory there in the first round there of the playoffs to move on, and now we get to move to the Challenger League for another spicy matchup to determine our last semifinalist.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be such a close matchup. I think these two teams are very close in skill. I think that they're the 3 and 6 seed, but I mean their records very similar. Wraiths 14 wins, Hellcats only at 11. But I think that Hellcats their division was a little bit not necessarily as tough as the Wraiths. So maybe there's a little bit difference there. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's still very tough divisions, right? You have Venom and Bishops in the mountains, and then for the Central, you had Raptors and Orbit. But like all these teams are above 10 wins, so very very close. I think they had to deal with a lot of adversity to get here. I think that both these teams are going to be super super ready to play. I think without seeing all their other Challenger League matches being played and kind of just being the last one. There's the winner of this is going to go against Griffins. They won their matchup against the Bishops, and it was the Bishops held it close for the first half, but the Griffins were able to just kind of steamroll their way, and then Venom is on the other side of the bracket. I believed dissolved feat motion, but it's not updated on the public player sheet, so don't quote me on that one. But this is the last matchup of the Challengers. Going to be one for the ages, I think.
Yeah, it should be an exciting one here. We got the 3 seed race taking on the 6 seeded Hellcats. It looks like we got just about everyone locked up in the lobby, ready to go. So Ventus, I gotta ask you here, what do you got for prediction? Who do you think's gonna win this one? I know you love your predictions, and Discord is saying leaning towards race. It looks like the channel points are also leaning towards race. Still a minute 30 remaining on that prediction if you want to get your points in. But who are you taking?
you know, I don't think I can go against chat here. I think the Wraiths are going to win, but I think it's going to be really close. I really like Hichew and Kosh. Kosh came up from the Prospect League last season, had a great run with the Blackhawks. I think he's acclimated to the Challenger League really well. I think him and Hichew have been playing really well. But I just don't think. I think that Zair is a really solid player. I think Milkert has also just been a really solid player. I think as a team, the Wraiths are more cohesive, and I think that that'll allow them to take a lot of these close games that might not necessarily go their way normally. So I think that the Wraiths are going to take it, but I do think it is going to be close. I'll say 4-2 Wraiths.
Alrighty, well, we're going to have to see here as we have got things underway here for game number 1 of this best of 7. As we got the Wraiths here in the red tonight with Zeek, Milkert, and Zair, and the Hellcats with Astro, Aeon, and Hichew. Both these teams looking to make a name for themselves here. The Wraiths, I know a little bit about them here, Ventus, because they've got one of my former teammates on their team, and Milkert made a big trade mid-season to get him up. With the race, they really wanted him, and ever since they got Milkert on their team, this race team has been one of the top teams in the Challenger League.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's surprising when teams kind of that are at the top of the totem pole make an acquisition like that. I think the only other team that I can really think of doing something like that was the Grandmasters this season as well. We started out 3-1. And we still made a trade getting rid of our top south to pick up another player, but we had faith, and Zair and Zeek have faith in each other right there. As a great pass off the back wall, Milkert leaves it for Zair off the post, but Zeek is there for the follow-up, getting the beat on all 3 of the Hellcats players. A good play from them, but I mean, it seems like the Wraiths, they knew what they wanted to do. They knew what kind of play style they wanted, and they saw that Milkert was available, gives them a higher ceiling than previous, and I think that's what they're really looking at. I think that's the best thing you can do going forward. You always want to make your team better, and I think this trade definitely did that.
Yeah, definitely did, and they're going to be the ones starting out with that first goal here in this game, number 1. This one pushed off the wall here. Going to be pushed into the corner. Zeek looking to stay on this one here. He's going to pop this one up, trying to send it in the midfield. Ball dropping down. Hichew going to grab this one. Milkert going to block it up in the midfield. Zair with an opportunity off the backboard, looking for the double tap, can't find it. Here comes Zeek off the backboard, Is there follow? He's gonna find the bump. Milkert is coming through, gonna put it in. A big play from all three members of the race.
Yeah, and they're just outspeeding the competition right now. You just see Hellcats getting beat out every single time by a player from the Wraiths. The pop to the backboard beats out a player. The shot beats out a player. The bump coming through as well, taking out the last defender anyways. And Milker able to
Pause crit.
put that one home as we see a connection error there as Aeon looks like he DC'd.
Need to pause that. Crip. As yeah, we will have to pause that, reset that one on the kickoff there. But yeah, a little bit awkward in the playoffs, but we do love our good old match Adam Adventus. Give us the ability to pause and reset from the kickoff there. But a little bit of disconnect there. But Rays still find themselves up 2-0 there.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately for the Hellcats, I don't think that this will cause any previous go backs to take away that second goal from them, as I think he disconnected way after the goal was scored. And I believe he even got beat out. One of the players from the Wraiths were able to beat him on a challenge. So I think that it'll stand 2-0. I think Wraiths have been able to kind of start off on the right foot. And I think that the Wraiths are a little bit confused as to why we paused, even though there was a disconnection. You see that Aeon was not able to connect. He lost connection in the game, so that is an automatic pause, and we are going to look to see when that occurred. Then we reset it. So might be a little. I don't know if it would have changed anything, but you got to do what you got to do. I think it's the right call, and maybe it stunts the Wraiths' momentum a little bit, but I mean, they seem like they're going to be able to get it back.
Yeah, no, they still have that 2-goal lead here. We are going to restart 2:54 on the kickoff here. Score still at 2-0, so we will reset that one here and we will get right back into it. We do love the good old match admin feature there, and we'll have to see as
I just disconnected.
yeah, it looks like we might have lost the lobby as well. So you gotta love the technical issues, but we'll survive either way. But so far, Ventus early on as we look to get back into this game number one in just a second here. So far, the race a very solid game one performance in the first couple minute or two here.
Yeah, and it was really just the speed was the difference maker. I mean, I talked about them just constantly getting beats in the midfield, constantly getting beats on the Hellcats end, and it just allowed them so much pressure. The speed proved too much. I think that's one of the things that Hellcats is going to have to work on. They're going to have to match that speed. They're going to have to really ramp it up. I mean, this is a playoff series. This is a give it your all, give it your best, or you're probably going to go home. So Hellcats need to definitely step it up, make sure that they are on the same page as each other. I believe that they are a very fast team, and I think they just need to get acclimated. Maybe this is game one nerves, and they're just kind of feeling it out. But with a reset, maybe that helps them a little bit. Maybe they can say like, hey, look, we had this disconnection, we got the pause, we have this reset because the server died, and maybe they can utilize that to their advantage.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of little bit of an in-game timeout, a little technical timeout in that one, and we'll see if they again, like you said, see if they can take it to their advantage here in this one. As it looks like we do have everyone popping back in here for this next game. At least that's what it looks like here. We'll have to sort out some things here in this one. So bear with us. Little technical difficulties. But Ventus, as we look on to this one, looking for game number one. What is it like? Obviously, this is kind of a rare situation where we have to reset from a specific time and score. But what would that be like as a player here to try to make something happen here and try to get a little bit knocked off your groove here?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like I think this plays into the advantage of the Hellcats a little bit more. I think that they're able to kind of use this as like basically a tactical timeout without having to use a timeout, without having to go undo a game or lose a game in general. So they might be down here, um, but I think that they get a free reset. I think this is going to be the biggest thing for them, is how they're going to adapt on the fly, how they're going to be able to come back from this. Wraiths, obviously, you just got to keep doing what you're doing. You got to find that momentum and find that groove that you've been able to outspeed. But you got to kind of regain that. You got to refine that speed from and make sure you're going faster than Hellcats, who might surprise you now that are playing faster and more aggressive. So it'll be interesting. I think it plays a little bit into the Hellcats' favor, but I don't think that the Wraiths will be too worried about it. I think that their 2-0 lead is going to be pretty solid. I think that they've been playing very well early in game number 1, so I think it should be fine no matter what.
Yeah, and it looks like we are going to dive back in here into this game number 1, as the Wraiths can have their 2-0 lead in this game. Gonna have to see if they can keep things going here. This one's dropping down. They are gonna make it 3-0, picking up right where they left off before the restart.
Yeah, and it didn't seem to affect them at all, as Zair trying to get a dunk on Aeon. No touch coming through from either side, and it looks like the Wraiths gonna find a 3-0 lead. This is, I mean, just where the Wraiths picked off. It seems like the free timeout for the Hellcats didn't equate to too much, as it seems like they were still put on the back foot once again. But I mean, I think that the Wraiths are just playing really well. I think they're just playing really fast, and I'm kind of surprised that the Hellcats are having so much trouble. I feel like Hichew and Aeon are both pretty fast players, Hichew specifically, and I know that the Hellcats aren't playing with Kosh right now, which might be the biggest issue. But not everything can go your way in playoffs. Like, scheduling happens sometimes, and they just got to make do with what they can. I'm not sure if Kosh is even the starter at this point. I know he was during the regular season, but I mean, maybe it's just a play style change that they want to do, and maybe it'll be better for them in the long run.
Yeah, I think they actually did switch the roster around quite a bit, so I think this is just the one that they ended up with at the end here. So hopefully for their sake they can battle through and give us a good series here, as we're down to minute 5 remaining here in this game number 1. The Race up 3-0. As Aeon now looking to take this down, trying to find the first goal for the Hellcats. There is this one shot towards the net, but not quite going to find its way down. Is Zeek going to send it out? Going to pop this one up high. Ahsoka, that one is going to be pushed back down towards the net. Zair going to grab that one. Aeon pushing it back towards the midfield. Hichew looking for a shot there, but it's going to be denied away as it's sent back down towards the other end there. Inventus with 30 seconds remaining here. The Race in full, complete, and utter control of this game 1.
Yeah. Again, I talked about it both times that they've scored. They just seem to be playing faster. It's not like they're really playing that much better. I feel like they're still getting those double commits we've seen from the Hellcats side. They're still making some mistakes on their touches. It really is just that they're playing a quicker game than this Hellcats roster, and that's something that they should talk about going into game number 2, because Wraiths were able to take a pretty dominant lead in the beginning. Even after the reset, it seems like they were mostly dominant still. They did not concede. They had a couple questionable times on defense that they had to make good saves to get out of, but I feel like the Wraiths, it was a calm, cool game that they weren't necessarily too worried about. I feel like they came out, they just were faster, and I mean, it shows that the Hellcats had 4 shots to Wraiths 2, but you forget that we did have to reset, so the Wraiths 2 goals, and I believe they had 4 or 5 extra shots in there that the Hellcats did not have, are also a factor. And I just feel like it was a good test for game number 1. I think that you kind of have to come out and adapt for game number 2 if you're the Hellcats. But I think Wraiths, you were playing very well. I think you just keep doing what you're doing. They're playing very fast in the midfield. They're getting a lot of beats. Their touches are very good for the most part, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So for them, I'm like, just keep doing what you're doing. Keep playing how you're doing. Trust in your teammates. Try to limit the double commits, especially on defense. And for Hellcats, you just got to pick up the pace a little bit. Find each other more. Find each other in the outlets. Maybe a little more cuts in rotation to speed up and allow your players to have easier touches on the ball. And I think that it's just kind of a feel game out for game number 1, and we'll start to really see the action ramp up here in game number 2.
Yeah, we'll see if the Hellcats can, like Linda said, ramp things up here, try to tie this series up. As this one popped out of the midfield, Hellcats trying to find their first goal. This one dropped down to Zair, trying to find a redirect, but can't quite get that touch. As Hichew looking to take control, they're going to push this one up high. Aeon beat it over the top. There's Milkert going to take control, going to push one down the midfield. Astro looking for the shot there, but Zair is going to deny it. The first big chance there for the Hellcats. Not going to fall their way. This one's sent back in across the net there. Zeek going to find that touch. Astro looking for another one. Pass it infield there for Hichew, who's going to take a banging shot on net. And the Hellcats find their first on the board.
Yeah, I think Aeon also got a bump on Zair, kind of slowing him down a little bit in the corner. The shot comes through. Zair's a little awkward recovering from it. And the biggest thing was, like, the Hellcats were able to steal a lot of the boost from the Wraiths. The Wraiths were playing very fast and very aggressive, but a lot of the midfield pads were taken already, so they had to retreat. They ended up rotating along the same path line. Nobody was really able to get boost, and you just see Hellcats start to be able to continue to add pressure, and then they're able to start outspeeding it. And it might be something where they have to prioritize the midfield and prioritize the midfield boost so that they can slow the Wraiths down just a little bit so they're able to keep up or be able to surpass them speed-wise, because that worked out perfectly for them. They're able to start outspeeding. They're able to shut them down, get control when they were trying to clear the ball out of the Wraiths' half, and overall they just kind of suffocated them. I think it was a great play and a great, acclamation to game number 2. I feel like they adjusted very well from what they were missing up on game number 1, and it's a very beautiful sign. It means that we're going to get a lot more content.
We always love some more content. You can't say no to that one. As we're going to continue things along here. Hellcats on top, trying to keep their pressure going. This one dropping down towards Milkert. He's going to find a touch, but this ball is still right in front of their net there, but they are going to make the save away. No one for the Hellcats quite ready to push that one off. This one's blocked up here. Astro going to send it back down towards the net there. Milkert is going to find one, a pass across the midfield looking for someone, but going to find nobody. As Hichew off the backboard there, going to push this one off to the side here. Aeon going to find a touch, trying to send it back in. Astro now off the corner. Milkert take control. Hichew pushing this one back. Both these players, these teams playing on that right side wall there. Finally across the midfield looking for the shot there, but Hichew can't quite get it on target. Is there a little bit awkward on the backboard? Zeek can help him out, but that one is still getting pushed off to the side. And again, these Hellcats are really starting to turn on the pressure in this game at number 2. Maybe not for long, as Zeek sent it down to Milkert, who's going to take the shot and put it in just around the bar.
Yeah, and I mean, that was a great play from Wraiths. They were able to hold on, find the outlet pass in transition. They were able to bang the ball towards a teammate. The redirect comes through from Zeek, a great one at that. Hichew, a little bit of a misplay there, but Milkert, good follow-up. Wraiths able to score on transition on the counter-attack, and, it's a little bit dangerous, right? The Wraiths have been kind of put on the back foot for a majority of this game because they've been getting a lot of their boost on. I feel like Hellcats have done a really good job keeping possession in the Wraiths end and putting some really good midfield pass plays together. But the Wraiths, they are able to break out when needed. They are able to transition, play differently. We saw them having majority of the offense in game number 1. And game number 2, they're utilizing those counterattacks and utilizing the transitions out of defense to pin their opponent deep, getting the bumps. Milkert going for one on Hichew, forcing him awkward in net, and Zair, all he's got to do is put that one on target. Wraiths go up 2-1, and I mean, it seems like they might have adjusted to the adjustment of Hellcats. We don't know. They're playing more counterattacky. They're not trying to play super pressured in their half, and I mean, they're making great saves on defense with Milkert right there.
Yeah, another great save, but the Wraiths there on that offense able to retake the lead here, trying to go up 2-0 in the series. But Hellcats looking to find something here. Astro can't quite find that one down, trying to leave it for a teammate, but not quite able to find it. Here is Milkert taking this one up. He's around 2, but it's going to ricochet off one of the last defenders there. As Zair now going to try to leave that one for Zeek, who's pushing that one to the midfield. Could be blocked off. As Aeon can't quite make that touch. And now Zair looking for this one. Going to pop it up high. Looking for another touch. We have an open net there, but a big save comes through. And that one, Ventus, is one that you're going to want back.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have some sort of urgency there trying to get a quick shot on, but the quality of the touch is not good enough. But it might not matter. Is that one looking for a pass to Astro, but unfortunately, they're not going to find that one on target either, trying to even it up. And I mean, that's when you want 30 seconds left. You kind of need an equalizer goal. You've been playing a lot of offense throughout this game. You've been holding a lot of pressure, and you need to convert on those chances, and this might be a chance. There's Astro got a free touch there from Zeek. Hichew looking for the follow-up, but still the Wraiths defense seems to hold strong, and with the last 14 seconds left, they got to do something to break through.
Final 10 seconds here on this one. Can they find something to send us in overtime, or will it be the Wraiths taking it all the way? This one shot towards net. Hichew flicking it over the top. It's just Zeek. He's got to try to take control, try to slow down this counterattack. But the ball pops up, sent towards the ground, but it's not going to stay up there. The Wraiths are going to hold on and take game number 2, going up 2-0 in the series.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a tough game. Obviously, the Hellcats had so much more presence on the field this game around. They had 10 shots to Wraiths 5, but it was really that one mistake there with the open net, not being able to shoot it fast enough or quick enough to capitalize on beating out the last defender. And Wraiths just had great plays in transition. Their defense held strong. I think that Hellcats had a lot of good chances. I honestly think that Hellcats played better than the Wraiths in this game number 2, and although the scoreline does not agree with me, I think that their passes out from their like passes to the midfield were really good. They had great chances on offense. It looks like they're gonna bring in Kosh to substitute, maybe get some more life into this Hellcats offense, and you know I think that this is gonna be an interesting thing. It looks like they're subbing Kosh for Aeon. This is what I would kind of assume would be their starting roster going into this series. I think that unfortunately, I feel like Aeon was also one of the main contributors with the passes. I'm not sure that's going to affect what I was praising about their offense in general, where they're able to find each other passes in the midfield, and kind of those infield passes is. Aeon, I feel like, was the main driver behind those. We'll have to see. If this might be a completely different game, and this is going to be an interesting one for the series.
Yeah, so Hellcats down 0-2, opting not to use the timeout. Instead, gonna make the sub for their 4-man roster, and they're trying to start it out early, but no, it rings off the post. That one would have been a massive momentum shift if they were able to get it in. But now they do make that substitute, Kosh for Aeon, which is interesting. They have played with a bit of a 4-man roster this season, have the Hellcats, so understandable they want to try to switch things up and use that sub to their advantage. As this one off the backboard there, out of the midfield, Kosh trying to see if he can make something happen here. Trying to bring this series back a little closer. This one shot towards the net. Trying to bump it away. Astro is going to take control. Going to find a flip reset there. Not much doing though. This one popped up. Milkert could have sent it towards the backboard. Looking for another touch. Can't quite find it. Here comes Zair. Looking for the shot there. Saved away by Hichew just in time here. And we've seen about a minute here of this new roster, Ventus. What do you make of it now, having Kosh in, as Zair going to get scored on?
Unfortunately, I was going to praise Kosh. I feel like he'd been keeping up a lot in the midfield with making good challenges, making good forces, and kind of keeping up speed-wise with Wraiths is one of the things that I was a little bit questioning, because he's going to be cold coming into this series. And I feel like he's done very well. I mean, I feel like a lot of his touches aren't really recognized. I feel like he's just kind of having to get a lot of forces and 50s in the midfield, which is kind of like an unsung art form. I feel like it's not very credited, but I feel like he's done well in the role so far. It's really going to have to be on whether or not this team can get jump started on offense, whether or not they're going to be able to transition out, because Wraiths once again have kind of been locking them down. I feel like they've been waiting and kind of holding that midfield pressure and just waiting for the touch to come through and wait for the missed touches, especially as Milkert is getting a free net on that one, a demo coming through off of that missed touch there by Astro, and the last man having to dive early, open net there. Unfortunately, it seems like the Hellcats, their touches just aren't good enough. They're leaving too much space for the Wraiths to come and take the ball directly off their cars. and the Wraiths, they're just gonna take advantage of it. They're gonna make the most of what the misplays, and this might be a crazy pre-jump from Zeek, but he almost gets a shot and goal on target, and that's gonna be a follow-up. I mean, the Wraiths are just feeling themselves. They are super confident. The clear comes through, but it's not the best. It's not super powerful. Kind of stays in the midfield, and Milkert able to get a great play on that, get a good read. Kosh, not the best touch once again, and I mean, this is what happens when you sub in a player who's been cold all series. That maybe they've been going and sitting in free play, but their touches just aren't going to be the best. I feel like they're going to start out a little slow, and I feel like that's what's happened as well. Is I see Kosh had a couple missed touches as well. Astro had another missed touch in the midfield as well that led to the Wraiths' second goal. So maybe just the missed touches coming through. Maybe need to play a little bit more possessive, and it's going to be hard when this Wraiths player are playing so fast. They're speeding up the gameplay and forcing you to play fast, but you got to try to slow the play down and manipulate the game speed so that you can feel more confident in your play.
Yeah, the Wraiths are definitely the ones holding all that confidence right now. They find themselves up 3-0 in this game. They're looking to go up 3-0 in the series. Hellcats trying to bounce back. They had a great opportunity off the first kickoff, but since then, completely shut down. That was their only shot for the game. Was that early, about 5 seconds in that kickoff attempt there. Now, this one back in the Hellcat zone. Zeek is taking to the backboard, looking to try to find a double tap. He's dropping it down, but Astro is going to find that touch just in time there. Milkert taking this one slow, taking this one up towards the backboard. They're going to find a big 50 as Zair towards the net. Astro going to help him out, clear that one away. As Milkert, again, looking to stay with this one, but it's just pushed off to the side. Zeek looking to keep it around, but the Hellcats desperately need to try to find some offense here. Trying to avoid going down at 3-0 in the series. This one popped up. Milkert is going to find a touch away to the corner. This one, a big triple commit comes through. Great opportunity for the Hellcats there if they can get it across in the midfield, but a little bit slow on the recovery here. As this one is shot towards the net. It's there, but they can't put it in. And again, Ventus, when you're the underdog here, the 6th seed, and you're already down in the series, you got to make the most of every opportunity that you get.
Yeah, and especially coming off of that triple commit where I believe it was Zair bumped both of his teammates, forcing himself to be the last man back. You really want to hope that they could convert on that kind of chance. But Astro had another missed touch in the corner. It wasn't able to get there. But I feel like this Hellcats roster, especially Kosh, has started to heat up. I feel like he's been getting better touches. He's been getting more beats. And I feel like he's been able to keep possession a lot more. And he's been able to manipulate the speed of gameplay, which is what I wanted to see out of Hellcats. Unfortunately, hasn't really worked out from them. But it has led to them getting some more opportunities on the offense and more transitions out of it, being able to break the pressure. But as I say that, a great double tap. But be a better save, though, coming through from Hichew, and Wraiths still don't look to be done yet, as they're going to look to add some more shots on target, but another save by Kosh comes through, and unfortunately, it seems like this Wraith squad just might not be able to keep up, or this Hellcat squad might not be able to keep up with the speed of the Wraiths.
Yeah, I mean, the Wraiths barely able to keep up with the speed of themselves here, so they're making some great plays here, some great passes, some great shot attempts, but just unable for the Hellcats to find their own, as that one gets right down in the midfield. The ball is still there, looking for someone, but instead, they find nobody. And the Wraiths, they are going to be the ones finding a Game 3 victory and a 3-0 series lead. Now only one win away from moving on to the semifinals.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm starting to see Hellcats do some more of the right stuff, right? I feel like they had a couple great passes. Astro had a pass there to Kosh that if Kosh were able to shoot that one, it was guaranteed to be a goal. And their touches are getting better. I feel like Kosh and Astro are getting more beats in the midfield, something I was looking at them doing, and they're also getting and keeping more possession. The Wraiths still, though, they are just outspeeding, outpacing, and I mean, they don't seem to be doing anything different, right? This is their MO. I mean, we see them change a little bit in game 2 when they had to play more counterattack style, and they were able to do so really well, but it seems like this is what they're most comfortable with. You saw Zeek going for a crazy pre-jump off the ceiling because he's just that confident in his teammates. They're out shooting, they're outperforming Hellcats, and individually they're just a much quicker team.
Yeah, they definitely are there, and looking to seal the deal here on this one, as we're going to be heading towards game number 4 here on this one. And opted for no timeout here
No timeout.
for the Hellcats, so they're just gonna go right for it here, Ventus, and try to just end it or try to pull back a reverse sweep here in a best of 7.
Yeah, and I'm always a fan of using your timeout, especially if you go down. I think that just being able to talk about it more, get your teammates' opinions on what you need to change as well is really beneficial. You want everybody to get on the same page, and I think a lot of teams, like I know Titan teams specifically, can do this a lot in between the games. We allow like a little bit of leeway between the end of game lobby and next game, so when us casters are talking about the game and kind of the stuff like that, their teams are also able to talk about it. But I think just the extra 60 seconds is a big deal. I think that it's not that Hellcats are throwing in the towel, but I feel like they would be able to be much more on the same page. They'd be able to follow up each other more. They'd be able to talk about what they need to do. But maybe they already know what they need to do. As Kosh is a great follow up there off that 50 from Astro, and a great shot puts them up 1-0. You know, this is it's a great play. I think that Zair was playing really fast, overcommitted a little bit as the third man, and committed very early. The beat comes through, which is what they need. They need to keep up with this team, and they did so in that possession. Were able to score this time. I think that they had a lot more chances last game as well that they could have scored, and if they had converted. So Hellcat's not in a horrible position.
Yeah, no, I mean, able to find that first goal to their ledger there. We saw the sub that came in. Kosh can throw that one in the back of the net. And now for the Hellcats, can they keep that going? Can they turn it into something more? That is the big question here, as now they have to try to find 4 straight wins if they're going to want to move on in the playoffs and head to the semifinals. The race, they just need to find one here. This one's set back down. Milkert gonna find a touch off the wall there. Milkert again looking for 50. Gonna go underneath. Zeek trying to help him out, but Astro is gonna take some control here. Gonna stay on this one. Gonna flip it over the top there. Trying to find a dunk on the second, but that one is just gonna fall all the way through. And the Hellcats have a 2-0 lead.
Yeah. This is when you start to see, because the Hellcats are playing faster in the midfield, they're starting to get more beats, and the overcommit and the third man commit coming from the Wraiths is being caught out a little bit too much. You see both those goals were from a push-up, or an optimistic play from one of the players from the Wraiths, and then when they got beat in the midfield, it just left a wide open net, and a potential scoring opportunity is another great pass there. It seems like Hellcats, they didn't need to talk about what they need to do anymore. I believe that they were playing a lot better at the end of and the second half of game number 3. So even though they were the 3-0 scoreline, I thought they held it a lot closer. And I think it's just, you got to play your game. I think this is what the Hellcats wanted to do. They're starting to take advantage of that third man and the confidence in Wraiths as well. I think that the Wraiths are going to need to start pulling their third man back a little bit more, maybe some more fake challenges, maybe some more cuts in the midfield for your third man so that he can play a little bit more back. But Hellcats seem to have a little good idea of how to score and how to take advantage of them. So I will have to see how Wraiths respond.
Yeah, we saw them, in that game number 2 when the Hellcats turned up that aggression. The Wraiths went in that counterattack play style. We'll see if they try to fall back to that again here as they find themselves down by 2 here in this game number 4. Zeek looking to grab this one off the wall there. Ball going to pop up high in the midfield. Zair pushing this one a long way. Hichew gonna find the saves there. Right back to it though. Trying to put it over the top of the ball. Drop it down. Looking for a bump there. Ball floats out of the midfield. Hichew is gonna find that touch. Able to clear it away. As Zeek gonna leave that one for Milkert. They're gonna get around 2. This one a dangerous ball in the midfield, but Hichew gonna help keep that pressure away from their net. As this one pops up in the midfield. Dangerous ball. The race getting a little panicky there. As Astro sends one off the corner. Zeek gonna find a touch, but here comes Kosh. Gonna send this one up high, forcing 2 players to the backboard there. Hichew, he's also gonna push this one up high. Zeek is gonna be there, able to clear it away. Able to find a flip reset. It's that one. Hichew is gonna pick up a savior medal. And the Hellcats really holding strong on the defensive end right now. And Ventus with 1:10 remaining in the race, really just haven't been able to find that same offense that we saw in the last couple games.
Yeah, I think it's because they did what I said. They pulled their third man back a little bit, and it's kind of causing them not to be able to get as many follow-ups, not able to get as many cuts in the midfield. And another overcommit there this time, though, from the Wraiths leads to a goal, and the Hellcats seem to be catching out that third man way too frequently. When they have been pulling it back, you haven't seen any counterattacks being scored. But when the Wraiths start to get aggressive, when they start to get pressure in the Hellcats' end, they always start to leave their third man trickling and cheating up more and more. And that's when the hole comes through, and Hellcats just bide their time, wait for the overcommit, and then just pop a long shot on target, pop a beat, trying to get the play on that last man back, and they just play the waiting game. They wait for the overcommit or the misplay to come out, the misrotation, and then they pounce. They take advantage of it, and I feel like it's really stunted the Wraiths' pressure because they can't commit all three players onto the ball because they're not playing as fast, or if they're playing as fast, they're still getting beat. Hellcats are playing faster than them now, and they can't have the same kind of style or same kind of play that they could previously, when they could just beat every player out to the ball and not have to worry. They could leave their third man up because they know that they're going to just outspeed the other team and not have to worry about getting back because they were going to score on those chances. So a big development in the series, because it seems like Hellcats have found the playstyle that works against them, and I mean, they've done so beautifully. I feel like they've caught and capitalized every single time, and this is what they could have been doing last game. I think that they missed a couple chances towards the end of the series where we would have seen a closer game number 3, but game number 4 is very swung. It's a very dominant play from the Hellcats, and even though they have about the same amount of shots, I think that the Hellcats just played a better series. They just capitalized on what they needed to, and they didn't do anything too fancy. I didn't feel like it felt like Astro in the first few games kind of went for some crazy touches and possession catches from like really difficult positions, and he wasn't able to get the correct touch that he wanted, gave the possession away to Wraiths. Now you see him going for safer touches where he knows he can control it, where he knows he can keep possession. Same thing with Kosh, and they're able to change and manipulate the style of play where then the third man has to dive because they have possession, and then they're just able to beat that last man out. So it's really good development from the Hellcats. They've been able to adapt at this point. They didn't even need to use the timeout, not that it matters, because if they lose one more game, it's all over, and they need to complete a reverse sweep for the upset to happen. Well, not upset, but well, yeah.
Yeah, it's upset.
It is upset. 6 seed versus 3. It's I don't know. I never think of anything as upset in the playoffs because it's anybody's game, really. I think anybody could take down anybody if they're on their game, if they're playing at their ceiling. So to me, upsets might not really happen, but on paper, yeah, it would constitute an upset.
Yeah, it would be an upset if they're able to bring it back here. We'll have to see if they can keep things going. And I know people love to talk about reverse sweeps. There have only been a handful in Nemesis history of best of 7 reverse sweeps. There have been 6 all-time Ventus, and of those 6, the reverse sweeping has been done by the 1 seed 5 of those 6 times. So it doesn't really bode too well for this series. The only other one was a Venom team that was just an anomaly in all things considered. Was the 10 seed, pulled a reverse sweep in the grand finals somehow to find the 4th championship. So that's just an anomaly. Other than that, we've seen all the 1 seeds have been the only ones to find a reverse sweep. But we'll see if the Hellcats can make history, as it's going to be Kosh striking with the first goal in game number 5.
Great demo from Hichew, good speed from Astro, trying to get the shot on, forces a double commit as well from the Wraiths, and Kosh is then able to follow up. You see the missed touches, or the missed rotations coming out from Wraiths, rather, and they're starting to make more mistakes on defense now. They're starting to make more double commits. They're not trusting each other because that third man is constantly getting beat. They don't have as much faith and confidence in each other as they had previously, and that's a great bump and leaving an open net for Zeek, but he absolutely trolls it as he wasn't able to put that one in. The Hellcats were able to get back in time and keep that one out, but the pressure's still there, and I do not know how they were not able to score on that one.
I mean, that was about as wide open as it gets there. All Zeke had to do was make just any touch, but instead, it's going to get saved away. Hichew on the goal line there, able to make it happen, as that one was a tough one for the race here, as now they find themselves in an awkward spot here, dominating the first 3 games. Even took that game number 3 as a big shot coming through, but a great save from Astro, avoiding the demo and getting that ball real quick. But the race dominated those first 3 games. Game number 3, we saw Kosh sub in. Didn't quite work as well as they wanted, but game 4, A great showing from them, and now game 5 find themselves in the lead here to the Hellcats. Looking to try to bring this to a Forbidden Temple. So that game number 6. As Kosh sends one off the ceiling. Ball dropping down. Zeek gonna find a touch. Astro again off the corner. The ball pops up. Looking for the redirect. Can't quite find it. Kosh gonna dive on this one, but he's getting beat out. Milkert demoed for his efforts. This one turns back around. Zeek to Zair. Now Milkert watching this one pop up high. Gonna opt to take control here. Kosh gonna find a 50. This one pinched off to the corner though. As the Hellcats still holding on to this lead here. Ventus and the Wraiths, they are trying to get some offenses. This one could be a big opportunity, but Hichew is able to block that one away. And yeah, right now Ventus, as we approach halfway, score is still 1-0 in favor of the Hellcats.
Yeah, I think that the Hellcats are just playing better, if that's an awkward thing to say. But as I say that, a demo coming out on the third man, the beat coming out in the midfield, a miss there by Hichew rather, and Milkert able to just put that one towards the net. Zeek is finally there for the follow-up this time, and Wraiths, they should have been tied 1-1 earlier. They finally get the equalizer, and I feel like these two teams have really settled in right neck and neck with each other. I feel like Hellcats have started to figure out what to do. The Wraiths are having to adapt a lot, and a great just dunk, the send on the catch. It looked like he was taking the possession for a flick there in Hichew, and Milker just fully diving on that one, just able to completely throw the players off guard, get the dunk, get the goal. Wraiths are going up 2-1, but like I said, I feel like this game is so close. I feel like both these teams are playing right towards their ceiling now. I feel like Hellcats have finally started to threaten at every single second of the game, where they're constantly pressuring net and constantly making good saves, constantly getting bumps as well in the midfield. Their speed of play has increased. They've been able to put Wraiths on the back foot a lot, and we see another shot coming out from Hichew there, and I just think that we're starting to see better and better Rocket League from these teams as the series goes on.
You love to see it here. Both teams trying to step up in this winner-go-home series. This one's flicked towards the net. Milkert going to make a save, and the Wraiths locking down on defense a couple times here. They have to do it again here as the Hellcats going to be ready to make an attack here. Kosh pops this one up. Going to find a flip reset. Going to keep it around. But only a minute 30 remaining now for the Hellcats. Can they find something here? Gonna have to do so if they want their season to extend a little bit longer. This one off to the corner. Kosh can't quite find a touch he's looking for. Does get a bump through though. This one sent back in to the race corner. Controlled by Zeek. Big 50 coming across. Kosh gonna take this one. Pops up high. Astro is diving for that one, but it's gonna be sent a long way. Now 60 seconds remaining here. Hellcats, if they're going to want to battle back, going to need to find a goal here to at least force overtime. And they might have found something there. A big 50. Astro coming through, but they can't find it. The Wraiths somehow, some way, hold on right there. That was a huge chance for the Hellcats. And now 40 seconds remaining. Will they get another opportunity like that? As Milkert pushing this one down, trying to find a dagger. But it's Astro. It's a 3-on-1. Zeek is to the backboard there. It's going to be right in the way to block that one off. And this one pinched a long way. And the Hellcats, their season on the line here. Trying to make something happen. This ball off the ceiling. Milkert, he's still looking for a dagger there. Going to keep it around in the corner. Just trying to get in the way. Kosh taking control. Trying to send it down. He's going to find a demo. Ball in the midfield. Double commit comes through. Hellcats, do they have a miracle in them? Milkert is going to send this one out. Astro got to try to take this one all the way. The ball's popping up. Zeek, he's going to send it back into Hellcats, and Zair is looking for the dagger of his own. He sends it down, and the Wraiths are going to move on to the semifinals.
Man, I mean, a very close series. I think if I were on this team, I probably, and I said this at the beginning, I believe that Kosh was the right play. I think that him starting, I mean, even though they lost game number 3 when he did sub in, I feel like it was a pretty competitive series. I feel like they had a lot of chances, especially towards the second half when they started ramping up. And then I feel like game 4 and then this game number 5, they were very close. I mean, Hellcats were dominant in game number 4. And then in game number 5, I mean, they lose barely out. They had to make some great saves on defense from the Wraiths. And I can't be too upset. I mean, I thought this was going to be a little bit closer than it was, but we did see a lot of really close games. I mean, I feel like overall the Hellcats started to figure out what the Wraiths were doing. They were starting to get more chances. We saw some higher elevated gameplay from them as well. And I might have predicted the Wraiths were going to win in 4-2, and I was pretty close with the 4-1. I will say, not to brag, but it's just like I think that this series was a lot closer than it really was. I feel like that each of the games, especially that last game, could have gone either way. If another 50-50 goes towards Hellcats' way, they get another net, or they maybe shoot like slightly better, or they make a slightly less optimal save coming out from the Wraiths. I feel like we're seeing a completely different game and a completely different series. Unfortunately, I feel like losing those first two games without that kind of roster in the beginning kind of stunted them, and I feel like that might have been the difference for the series.
Yeah, it could have been, and all you can look back on now if you're the Hellcats is coulda, shoulda, woulda. Unfortunately, that's not really going to help them as their unfortunately their season is over. The race are going to move on to the semifinals, so big congratulations to them. If we could pull up that Challenger League playoff bracket, we've got now all four of our semifinalists set here. Ventus in the Challenger League, and it's been an exciting Challenger League playoff so far, and it looks like it's going to be pretty chalk with now 1, 2, 3, 4 moving on.
Yeah, I mean there were some times where I thought Motion and Bishops were gonna play upset. They were gonna take down that 1 and 2 seed, but unfortunately the Juggernauts proved to be too strong. They proved that they were at the top of the standings for a reason, and I think these games are going to be really, really good. I think that Wraiths and Griffins is going to be a very close series. I think Griffins are going to play well into Wraiths. We're going to see more of kind of the play style that Hellcats figured out, but the Griffins kind of naturally play it. I feel like that worked well into the Wraiths. We'll see if that can cause anything. I mean, I think that the Venom Raptors series was a little bit unfortunate with the Raptors missing Camden. I think that one would have been a lot closer, potentially an upset there. But Venom, obviously going forward, I think that it's going to be a very interesting matchup, especially getting to see friends in Nervebot and Fort kind of going head to head against each other in the semis, trying to play for the ticket to the grand finals. I think that I don't know. I think that the best four teams obviously are moving on, but I think there was some questions throughout each of their series whether or not they were actually supposed to be at the next level, and I mean they answered them. So a super exciting rest of playoff bracket.
Yeah, no, it is going to be exciting. I mean, people don't like necessarily like chalk 1, 2, 3, 4, no upsets, but Ventus, I do like that because that means we do have the four top teams from the regular season going at it in the semifinals. It's going to set up some banger semifinal matchups in the Challenger League, so all eyes will be on those ones: Dissolve versus Venom, and then Griffins, and obviously Race moving on now as well. So big congratulations to them, to all those teams. We'll be seeing them starting next week for those semifinals. But we've got to keep things rolling here because we still have two more matches on the docket for tonight, two more semifinal spots to determine here. First up, coming up next in a few minutes here, we're heading to the Rival League where we have a rival taking on Whiteout. Another battle here of 4 versus 5, and we'll see who is going to come out on top and get themselves a date with the good old undefeated Gravelords. So make sure you guys stick around, and we will see you guys in a few minutes.